MSN split for $1 million. These guys are battling for $20,000 prize money. Chris Barnes on the right out of Topeka, Kansas, and Norm Duke on the left. And of course, these two met in the title match in Portland last year, and that was won by Chris Barnes.
And there's a shock. Chris deciding to start the match so he can finish on the right lane.
he has been watching.
He's a smart guy.
That's the way to open up. Brian, you and Randy both have been in this position. How difficult is it to sit and watch and then have to come up and bowl?
Well, I think you're studying what the players are doing and the tendencies of their bad shots on those lanes. Studying those and saying, how can I avoid that? What can I do to just totally get out of that? Chris has decided to move left of everybody else, and Norm Duke is right of everybody else. It's a little light, and he gets it.
Now, Randy, we'll go to the other side of the coin. How is it for Norm, having bowled a couple of games now, and now he understands what the lanes are doing?
Well, Norm's the relaxed one. You know, he's got 2 games under his belt. He knows what the lanes are doing. You know, there's no guessing. He's you know, he's the one that's the most poised right now. Chris, you know, hopefully a couple of shots before he gets his nerves kind of under control, and hopefully along the way while he's doing that, he strikes.
That's a good shot. Solid 10.
94 Player of the Year, 93 won the Masters. His 18-year career, over $1 million.
And you know, when Norm was a teenager, he was one of what we call the best action players in the game. As a teenager, he'd bowl anybody for any amount of money. And he was real good at it. 10-pin, we'll see a real straight ball. Very relaxed swing, no throwing.
Timing and rhythm has been a key this week. Chris Barnes, though, telling us last night that, gentlemen, he's been all over the lanes. He says he's had to move right, he's had to move left. He says he hasn't changed balls a lot, just he's had to move where he begins.
Well, welcome to our planet, Chris. We had to do the same thing, pal. Only problem is he did a lot better than most of us. Wow. Brian, he's playing that little rollout shot.
That ball's rolling out right before it gets to the head, too.
There's his wife, Linda.
And a great bowler in her own right, too.
Finished second at last year's
U.S. Open.
Last year's U.S. Open, finished second.
Well, we saw Chris in the Masters in Albuquerque, and I think it would be a fair statement, and Brian, I think you probably agree, and Randy, that this man is going to be the man in years to come.
I think that the general consensus among the players, you know, we know talent when we see it, and Chris has got everything. He plays lanes any way imaginable. He's got a great imagination, and he's a strong kid too, and he's young.
And he's very confident, and he practices
just like that.
Nice shot.
Flush on the tough lane.
Right, on the tough lane
that nobody else figured out.
The guy works as hard as anybody on his game with Coach Fred Borden, and he's very confident in his ability and his talent. Not to mention the fact that he's really good.
he can also bowl.
Yeah.
There's Norm Duke working on a
20
spin.
pins early.
Mm-hmm. He's in the third.
Hits the right lane. Little light hit. He knows he needs a strike here on the left lane. You don't want to give anybody an opportunity to go up there and just free will it.
Yeah, there is Pete Townis, the co-proprietor of Golden Pin Lanes and 2-time PBA champion.
One of the nicest guys in the business.
Big shot right here.
Gonna get it.
Well, it's a good break. You know, he avoids the split. But, Brian, that shot looked left.
It looked left off his hand.
Yeah.
I think he knew that.
I think he knows that.
Anticipating change out here, Randy. You know it. Every time you roll a ball, it takes off oil. You've got to anticipate that change. And here we have the 610. We'll see him roll it very straight, high percentage. Take out what we call the chop.
Cover both pins with the ball.
That's it.
Chris Barnes, who has his own fan club. You can reach him at bowlingfans.com/Barnes. Said most of his friends are up in Spooner, Wisconsin. All the guys are up there, Dino D and the gang. He says he'd love to have a victory today to give him something to talk about tonight.
That's just pure, right?
That's a way to begin, huh?
just pure.
Opening up the entire lane and then the ball actually rolling out and stopping.
Well, you know, Randy, when you're bowling, if you see a part of the lane that if you miss left and it goes left, and you miss right and it goes right, that's a part of the lane you totally avoid. You either get way right of it or way left.
I agree.
And he's further left than we've seen anybody today.
Yeah.
The concentration of Barnes, and Norm Duke has to be wondering if there will be a crack in that concentration. Down by 30 pins, Barnes with the lead. Wow.
And there's a breath of life when Norm sitting on the bench.
That was the big giant wheel. That ball going all the way out to the first board and just sawing back. Comes up just a pinch light.
Chris, you know he kind of got away with 9.
Yeah.
You'll see this ball go hard and straight. A little left. But
Ooh.
that's why you throw it straight. All right, he's probably going to start this out about the 18th board all the way out to 2, and it almost makes it back, and if it hadn't rolled out, it would have made it back.
Right.
And Norm Duke, he has a little daylight. Down by 29.
I think that's Norm's favorite lane right now, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. You know, the thing about these two guys is that the position that they're in right now is something that they thrive on. That they want to be in the spotlight. They just live for this moment, bowling for the title and bowling against the best in the world.
That's it.
Norm made no bones about the fact, and along with Chris, both of them, that PBA Player of the Year is high on their list of priorities. But it begins today.
Big shot right here. Better shot. Gets the 10 pin out.
And he gets the left lane. Norm Duke is still alive. Can Chris Barnes answer? Sportsnet Exclusive is being brought to you by Brunswick. Buy a specified zone ball and get a target zone free. Get to your pro shop and get in the zone. And by MSN, the everyday web. By the American Bowling Congress. All PBA events are sanctioned by the American Bowling Congress. Some of the Saguaro cactus inside the Golden Pin Lanes in Tucson for the MSN Open. MSN, the Microsoft Network, the first entitlement sponsorship since the PBA was purchased in April by the 3 investors, Chris Peters, Rob Glazier, and Mike Slade. And Chris Peters' 4th championship round appearance. He has the lead. Oh my. I'm sorry, Chris Barnes. Second one we've seen.
Second one we've seen. Honest bear, too. Loses 10 pins count. He can fall behind in the match if he doesn't pick this up in one shot.
Right out of commercial, maybe lack of concentration or something, but that ball is definitely too far right.
His wife, Linda. She knows what that feels like, I'm sure.
She's been there before.
If he picks this up, he'll maintain a 10-pin lead, basically. But like I said, with an open, he gives Norm a 2-pin lead in one shot.
All right.
That's the way to overcome the adversity.
Hey, take a deep breath. You know, get back on the horse again, pal. Make it